EA Sports FIFA 20 sponsors Saturday's Social.
This is Making It Pro with Tim Krul, courtesy of EA Sports FIFA 20. Tim, before we get into your footballing career, just want to ask you, obviously we're living in strange times right now. How are you? How's the family? How is everybody?
Yeah, everybody's good. It's crazy for everyone, obviously. I'm pleased the football's back, so it gives us kind of a bit of a normality back to my routines. But yeah, it's been a strange few months.
Let's take it back to the football. I want to take it back to your childhood when you were very, very young. What's your sort of earliest footballing memories?
Well, my first game I ever went to see was with my local team, and the game was Ajax against PSV. And I remember traveling with, I think it was 6 or 7 year old. And I remember going there to the old Ajax stadium and with my Ajax kit on and just experiencing the whole atmosphere. It was raining, there was no roof. It was just the sheer atmosphere in the stadium and the noises, the songs they were singing was pretty impressive. And I think from that moment, I started following Edwin van der Sar, who was playing in goal at that time, and really fell in love even more with football.
And when you were growing up, you already mentioned Edwin van der Sar. Were there any other sort of role models that really introduced you and taught you a lot about the game, maybe at Den Haag or on those international scenes?
Not really, no. I just loved watching. The good thing at Den Haag was that the stadium was next to the training pitches. So we used to train when the first team kind of was just about to play, and it just, what they always said, the big lights in the stadium, that's where you want to be, that's the aim. And that, it was really good because when you are 10, 11, 12, you know where you're aiming at to go over the big fence and in the big stadium. So yeah, I think that was the main push, the motivation for me personally.
Were you always a goalkeeper when you were growing up? Because I know when I was younger, I used to hate being a goalkeeper in any sort of training session. So was it different for you?
I was a left winger, funny enough, when I was a 5-year-old until I was 9. And then our goalkeeper moved away to another team, at my local team. And then they just asked me, "You're the tallest, can you just go in goal?" I really enjoy playing outfield because obviously it's really good for a goalkeeper to be able to play. So that kind of was really good for me as a development at the start. But yeah, when they just said, "Right, you're the tallest and the clumsiest, so go in goal," and never got out anymore.
And obviously, you eventually moved out of Holland to England to Newcastle United. How big of an upheaval process was that for you, being so young at the time? Massive step. I was 17.
My parents did everything for me. They brought me to every training, to school. So yeah, it was a big change, but we kind of, as a family, just said, you know what, Newcastle United, they offered you a 3-year contract. Go and explore, go and develop.
And do you remember signing that first pro contract and thinking, yeah, I've made it, this is it, I've got it now?
You know what, no, it was just the actual adventure more than anything. I remember sitting in a restaurant with the chairman, the Shepherd family, Graham Souness, the manager at that time, Dean Saunders, and I was sitting there as a young boy, and I remember Graham Souness saying, "Are you ready for this adventure?" And I'm like, as a 70-year-old, yeah, of course, yeah, anything, what can I sign, kind of thing.
And obviously there were some amazing goalkeepers there at the time as well. You're playing with the likes of Shay Given every week, obviously a Premier League legend now. What was that like, learning from goalkeepers of his calibre?
Well, that's, I think, the main reason why we went. When the club put a plan out for us and said, right, you start with the under-18s, with the 23s to train, and then once a week you're allowed to train with the first team. I mean, there's no better education than Shay Given, Steve Harper, Cernicek came back, you know, legends of the club. And it was such a harsh learning curve, but such an amazing, and they made me into the person I am today because, yeah, I mean, what a better education can you wish for?
Did you have any initiations when you first arrived there? Did they make you sing any songs or anything?
Yeah, we had some Christmas party. I remember being one of the young ones. They had this kind of X Factor kind of setup. So Shay Given, Shearer and Steve Harper were the judges. And all the young ones had to sing a song, and then the bottom three had to eat all sorts of worms or crazy drinks, shots. Lucky enough, I just finished above the line, and I think it was more the sympathy that my English wasn't very good at that time, and they kind of let me get away with it.
And obviously, you go on to make your debut for the Magpies. Do you remember that moment really clearly? Was that like a defining moment in your career, making your Newcastle debut?
Yeah, well, funny enough, 2 weeks before my actual debut, I was meant to play against Fenerbahce at home. I flew my whole family in, expecting to play, and then Steve Harper made a miraculous recovery on the day of the game.
Were you gutted about that?
Oh, I was gutted, yeah. I mean, 10 family were sitting in the crowd expecting me to play, and then when I arrived at the stadium, the sheet went up and my name wasn't on. So that was a big shame, but to be fair, that kind of took all my nerves away. So I was already so prepared and focused for the game. And then when we flew out to Palermo in Italy, and we went to do the morning walk on the day of the game, the manager took us to the side and he just said, "Yeah, today's the day you're gonna make your debut, and I've got all the belief in you." And I mean, yeah, that feeling on a European night in the UEFA Cup at that time. To win 1-0, yeah, it was surreal. It was something you work towards so much in your youth, and you trained hard, and that's the reason I flew out to Newcastle to ever become it. But to actually that happened a year and a half into when I arrived, it was amazing.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about your development as well, because obviously I noticed you went out on a few loan moves. How do you think they affected your development growing up as a young man? Yeah,
I think they're the reason I was ready to be the Newcastle #1 when it came to it. Going to Scotland as a 19-year-old, again, I moved into Edinburgh on my own. So lucky that Falkirk, the manager, Johnny Hughes, he picked me up from Edinburgh train station, and he just said, "Whatever happens, mate, you're gonna play every game. We've got to believe in you, even if you make a few mistakes in the first few games. We've seen enough of your talent that you're capable." And I mean, as a 19-year-old, to have that kind of trust of a manager in the Premier League in Scotland was immense. I mean, the first game we won 4-0, and I thought, "Oh, this is easy. Not a clean sheet." And then the game after that, it was Celtic and Rangers, and we lost like ridiculous 7-3 or something like that. And I was like, "Oh, this is a bit more serious."
And obviously, you eventually find your way to Norwich. You win the championship. You play every minute, every second there. What was that season like from your perspective, playing every minute, being so incredibly involved in a title-winning campaign?
Again, like dealing with taking a step back, going to Norwich into the championship when they were going through a bad patch was a risk to a certain extent, but amazing to get the opportunity after my bad knee injury I picked up playing for Holland. I mean, to play every second was huge, and then to win it on the way we did it, just attractive football, the whole city just, yeah. I mean, it's such an amazing club that everybody was right behind it for sure.
I wanted to ask you what you thought your best ever game as a goalkeeper was, because I really vividly remember one against Tottenham, I think, when you made like 14 saves. Do you think that was the best game you've ever put in, or was there some game when you were 16 when you made hundreds of saves?
No, I mean, 14 saves in the Premier League game away at Tottenham. I mean, that's, to win 1-0, to get the record in the saves in the game is has to be up there. Of course, that's one of the most famous, my favorite days. Sorry, just the sheer fact of actually winning and White Hart Lane. What an amazing place to do it. I mean, winning penalty shootouts, it doesn't happen very often. So when I've been so lucky that I've been on the receiving end of making the winner to a certain extent, and then doing that run, there's nothing better than doing that with all your teammates, and just the sheer relief to go through.
I mean, we can't speak about penalties without speaking about that 2014 World Cup when you obviously came on as a sub. Was that planned in before the game? If we were going to go to that stage, you were going to come on and save the penalties?
Yeah, I only heard in the hotel. So the goalie coach came up to me and he just said, right, we're so impressed with the way you've been in training. The manager, he literally will put you in if you're called up on or if there's an injury. And I kind of looked at him and I was like, he's kind of trying to keep me happy to a certain extent. So I wasn't really believing. When he actually said, yeah, when it goes to penalties, we are really considering to put you on. But yeah, when I saved 2 and then the winning one, it was just that relief. Was just, I mean, yeah, to see the whole Dutch squad running towards you and celebrate to go into the semi-final of a World Cup is just like you can still get shivers thinking about it, because that's really from when I started playing football at 5-year-old to do that so many years later for sure is the highlight.
And obviously you were playing, you mentioned him a minute ago, under Louis van Gaal, who I think, in my view anyway, is something of a maverick. What's it like working with him every day? Because I see him on the touchline falling over, giving hilarious interviews to Sky. What's he like as a person?
I mean, he's a legend, you know, he's he's won everything and that's how he comes across as well. But then when you really get to the nitty gritty and I've had a lot of meetings with him one-on-one and I fell out with him about lots of things, but just the respect, and you can only admire somebody who loves football that much and the detail he goes into. I have to be honest, there's not many better than him.
I wanted to talk to you as well about the Norwich fans. Obviously, they've given you guys so much belief. They're an incredible fan base, aren't they?
Literally, from the first game I was here, there was maybe 1 or 2 flags behind the goal, and then the supporters groups have come together, and I think they all realize that this club has got the potential to be something massive. And if you see it now, unfortunately with the Corona stuff, but before the Corona virus hit, I mean, the whole stadium is full of flags. The atmosphere is electric, and to be even bottom of the league, but to have the whole city still behind you shows you that I think they realize that what we're up to and what we're trying to do is the right way.
Tim, absolute legend. Thank you so much for joining us. That was Making It Pro with EA Sports FIFA 20.